ago, Escape Room Tournament of Champions was directed by Adam Robitel, and it's the sequel to the last Escape Room movie. And in this one, the two winners from the last movie, played by Taylor Russell and Logan Miller, they are trying to find the corporation that was behind the escape rooms and responsible for who knows how many deaths. And along the way, they find out that they're trapped in another escape room, this time with a bunch of champions from previous escape rooms. So now they must join together to basically survive this escape room, and there are deadly consequences, of course. So I was not looking forward to Escape Room 2. I wasn't even looking forward to Escape Room 1, to be honest with you. The first escape room really only had one interesting room, the war room that was upside down. Other than that, I thought the rooms were boring, I thought the characters weren't that interesting, and the twist made absolutely no sense. So, naturally, I was not looking forward to Escape Room 2, considering that Adam Robitel also directed that movie. So, and it wasn't on my radar, the trailer wasn't that interesting, it looked like it was a straight-to-DVD sequel. And, yeah, that's what I got. This movie is... Like, Escape Room was not, like, a bad movie, not, like, a movie where I'm like, oh, I'm so mad about it, and, you know, it wasn't, like, on my worst of the year list that year. This one has a pretty good chance of it being on the worst of the year list. This movie's bad. This movie's really bad. This movie is really, it's not dull by any means, but it's just uninteresting. I guess that means the same thing, but whatever. So, is there anything that works? I mean, some of the performances are fine, like the two leads from the first movie, they return. They're fine, they're not like bad performances by any means, but they're just not really that great either. Among the new characters, there were only two that I kind of liked. The girl who, the girl who doesn't feel pain, I thought she was fine. The guy who was a priest who had like all these, like, had all this guilt, I thought he was okay too. And there's only one room in this movie that worked again, but it wasn't because it was like really that intense, but it was because it was so well designed. It was the bank that had a lot of detail in it. That was actually really cool, but it's also like, how are they doing this? But whatever. As far as anything else that worked, the music was actually really good. Like the music, I remember the score being like really good, that I actually kind of wanted to stay in the theater and just listen to it. It was actually really good. Okay, now everything else about this movie's bad. Everything else about this movie's bad. The other two new escape room people, they just did not work for me. One is a guy, and all you really need to know is that it's his wife's birthday. So the only thing you know about this guy is nothing about him really. It's about his wife. And the other one, it's a woman who basically she's an influencer. And all she does is, like, cry and get scared. And you just wonder why either of those two were champions. Like, at least the other two kind of make sense. These two are, like, they're just kind of thrown in there. Like, how did you survive your first escape rooms? Like, I don't know how. It's, like, not even possible. And as far as the main characters, like, the main female character played by Taylor Russell, I believe her name is, while her performance is fine, I just feel like her character was just written so horribly. Like, she just has this hero complex throughout the entire movie, and it just becomes annoying to a point. It's like, she didn't really have too much of that in the first movie. This movie, it's even more annoying. Like, oh my god. And as far as the rooms go, the rooms, other than the bank, are just not really that interesting. Like, there's one on a beach that just looks so bland and just so generic. It looks like it just didn't look, obviously it's not supposed to look real, but it just looks incredibly fake. Like, for a movie where it's like the bank looks realistic enough, and they have like a escape room in New York City where it's like it looks a lot like New York City. Like, for all the detail they put in those, they put like no details there, and it just wasn't that interesting. And once again, it's completely illogical. Like, for a movie where, you know, it's about solving puzzles and, like, trying to make sense of things, nothing in this movie makes sense. Nothing. And even the twist in this movie is so... It's not really that interesting. It was something I predicted at the very beginning. It's way too obvious. It's even more annoying when it's like... okay, so the first movie, the twist in that movie, not really a twist, but it's like the cliffhanger of that movie, it didn't make sense, but I kind of just let it go. This one is just like, it tries to make it seem like it's a really big twist, it's a game changer, and yet I predicted it after the first scene. It was so obvious. But no, and of course, it's got to set up Escape Room 3. I don't want Escape Room 3. I didn't want Escape Room 2. I didn't want Escape Room 1. It just didn't really work for me. So, Escape Room 2, I guess the only things I can really say is, like, some of the performances are fine, the music is okay, and if you enjoyed the first Escape Room movie, you're probably going to enjoy this one too. As for me, who didn't really enjoy the first one, this one was just worse, and I don't want to see another one of these. I really just don't. It's, the rooms aren't interesting, the scares aren't really there, it's completely illogical. Again, for a movie about solving puzzles and such, it's just not logical. And I could see the twists coming from a mile away. It's just not worth your time. Don't solve this puzzle. I will give Escape Room Tournament of Champions 1 out of 4 stars. Skip it. So, did you see the first Escape Room movie? Did you see Escape Room 2? What'd you think of it? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.